Welcome to the Android tutorials part 2. So in part 1 we saw how to create an Android application and how to work with layouts and edit text and text views and how to create a form. So now we'll learn how to use these values and manipulate them. So here we have our project folder and we have our layout file and we have our activity file. So here activity file is blank as we haven't done anything over here. So first of all we'll just clear this, or as we don't need that, we'll remove that. And then if you see that we have 6 to 7 edit text and a button. So to use them we have to create an object first. So let's go to our activity file, and here you have to create your object. So let's say edit text, we'll say name, ID, name, email, mobile, address and password. So these are the ID text which we are using now. So we created an object of that edit text, and we also have a button, so we'll create an object for button as well. So this is the objects, and then we have to assign that particular object their values. So if you go in your edit text XML file or the XML view, you will see that they have an ID. So you can change your ID over here and give any random ID or particular ID. So this is my main activity. I will say main underscore field name, that is ID, and same way I will do for all of these. So main underscore name, this for email, so phone number, address, and lastly password. So I gave all of them a unique ID so that they don't coincide with other pages, and I'll also give ID for my button. So I'll say main underscore submit, and I'll change its text to submit. So we'll create one more button for clear. I'll just drag this button and place it over here, and I will click on distribute weights, and I will say clear over here, and I will change the ID. And I will create one more object for clear. So now my form is ready, the GUI or the layout part is ready. I will work with the backend part. We'll go in main activity, and I'll say id equal to find view by id, and I will say r dot id dot main underscore id. So here what R does is R stores all the IDs and the layout values and all the values of this particular package, and you can use it further. So here we are providing ID, that is int, so we'll have to convert that into a edit text. So we'll have to add a typecasting. So this is my edit text typecasted. So same we will do for name, email and rest of the thing. So I will say name equal to give id id dot name underscore name, and email id name underscore email by id phone this and address. I'm going to typecast this and for password. Pass. So same we will do it for buttons, that is submit. Same way find by id id main underscore submit and typecast them into buttons and clear. Let's go clear and typecast it. So I have initialized my objects. So next is we have to assign these buttons their on click action. So what can we do? We can just go in this function on create and we'll say submit dot set on click listener equal to new on click listener. So if you can see this, we have created a new on click listener for submit button. So we'll just save this right now, and next we have is a clear button. So same way we'll do for clear, set on click. You can even set all this listeners or action and do your coding on them. Like you can just create a function for drag and write a coding for drag. So we'll say on click listener new on click listener and then add a semicolon and remove pseudo punch. Here we'll just clear all the edit text. So to set any text or to get any text, we'll say id dot set text to set text and get text to get text from that particular edit text. So let's set text and we'll set it as a blank, so it will get cleared. Same way we'll do it for name, email, there's mobile and password. So let's see the name, email, mobile, address, and password. We don't need this. And let's run this file and see how does it works. So we'll go to our project, we'll say right click and we'll say run as Android application. So this is our application. So you can see over here that if we write an ID, name, email, phone number, address and password. So I have filled this form, and if I want to clear it, I'll just say clear, and you can see that all the text from that particular edit text has been cleared. And this is how get text or set text works. So we'll do one thing, we'll just set up an ID, a default ID on the start of this application. So I'll say over here id dot set text and some random ID, and I don't want any user to change or edit this, so I'll say id dot set enable false. So this way you can't edit it, and it will be read-only kind of on control. So we'll again run this. So again say right click, run as Android application. So if you can see that now we have set a default ID for this particular edit text, and I can't use it or I can't edit it, but if I write something else in other fields, I am allowed to do so. So now let's create a message box kind of thing where you will be notified or something, you can just show message. So for that we use toast function or toast class. So in submit we'll just get the name of the form or the entered name. So we'll just create a string first, and name equals to name dot get text dot toString. So this way we'll get the entered name in the any object, and then we can create a toast. So let's see how to create a toast. So we'll say toast control space dot make text. In context we'll pass our class name or activity name. So here we have main activity as our class, so we'll say main activity dot this, and we'll enter our text which we want to display. So name, enter name is, and a string, and duration we have two predefined duration, so we can use them. One is length underscore long and one is length underscore short. So usually we use short one, and at the end we'll say show. This is very important, or else your toast message won't be shown. It will create it, but it won't be shown. So we'll try to run this project again. I click run as Android application. So let's enter the name as ABC and we'll say submit. So you can see that it says entered name is ABC, which we entered. So let's add a D, and you can see that it showed D. So this is the toast message, or you can say message box, or notification kind of thing, where user has been shown some message. So we say toast dot make text current activity name dot this, and the string which you want to be displayed, and its length dot show. So we have seen how to set up on-click listener in this way, but there is a simpler way. You can just go to the button and set on click over here and say your function name directly over here. So I'll say main underscore submit underscore click. So you just have to copy this function name which you passed and create a function over here outside your any current function, but inside this class, outside this but inside this. So over here I'll say void function name, and as an parameter we'll pass an parameter of view, and we'll have to import this view if you haven't imported it, and we'll perform this task over here, and we'll completely remove that code. So I'll remove this code on submit. You just have to explain or tell the XML file that on click the event name, and you have to define this event in your activity class. So let's rerun this project and say run Android application. So if I write here ABC and I say submit, you will again see the entered name is ABC, and that particular event has been called successfully. If I add D again over here, you will see a D. So this is how you can set up an on-click on your button. So let's create one more activity and one more layout file, and let's see how to go from one page to another. So over here we have to add one more Java file, and in layout we have to add one more XML file. So for that we'll first create an layout file. So right click, new, and Android XML file. So over here you can just select relative layout, and remember that you can't use capital words and this file name. So if I write A, so you can see that it says it should start with a lowercase, or even if I use it in between, it will give me an error. So always use lowercase in your Android XML files. So here I will say second underscore lay from my relative layout, and I'll say finish. So I'll get an blank layout. I can just add an heading over here, and I can say second file, and I will create an button to go back into that file. So I will over here is back, and I will create an button again Los Angeles, or else I will just send this file on a submit click, so no need of button. So I will directly send this file or this page to the second page on submit click. So my second file is ready, and I have to add an activity. So this is how you create a new activity. Just go to your source and your package name, right click, new, and class. You have to select class over here, and in layout you have to select Android XML file. So you have to select a class, and I will say second underscore act, and say submit. So you can see that it's kind of blank, but you have to make it as an activity, and only it will be able to read that layouts and all. So for that you have to extend activity. So you can see that activity was imported, and now here we have a few options or pre-inbuilt methods in activity class which we will override. The first is on create. You can see over here override. So on create is always called when application or the activity is first opened only the first time. Next we have is on resume. Next we have is on the start, and next is we have on destroy. So as the name suggests, destroy is called whenever this activity is been closed or it's been destroyed. Next we have is on restart, if an application is closed or it's sent backwards. Next we have is on resume. So if you transfer or if you jump from one activity to another and you come back to the previous activity, this method would be called. So this is my second activity. So now I have to write a line which states that this activity will implement this layout. So I'll say set content view, and here again we'll use r dot layout this time, not id, but this time we have to use layout. dot our layout name. Sometimes you won't be able to see your layout name. That's because you haven't saved your file. So remember to save your file and then coming back into the activity. So this line will indicate that this activity is going to implement this layout file. So I have created my second activity, but I have to register this activity with my XML file, that is Android manifest file. This is kind of a main file in our project which handles all our other files. So double click on this manifest file and go to this XML view, and here you can see that we already have an activity inside our application tab. So this activity is nothing but the main activity, and it's indicating that it's the main in this project and it's a launcher. That means it's the first activity which is going to be started if this application is opened. So we'll again define an activity over here and we'll provide a name and we'll say our package name, and our second activity name. So what are we doing is we are defining the Android application that we also have this file, so include this in it. So if I don't write this, it will give me an error. So let's go in main activity, and what can we do? We can just take this name as a string and we'll pass it into our second activity and we'll create a toast over there. So how can we do this is we'll have to use an intent class over here. So intent is used to switch between one activity into the another. So we'll say intent, its object equal to new intent, and as in parameters we'll again pass our context, that is main activity dot this comma our second class name, that is second activity dot class. So remember this, if you create an intent you have to pass main activity, that is your current class name, dot this, that is context, and then the second activity or the next activity which you want to put your application into, dot class, and I'll say Ivan, so I'll say start activity Ivan. But I want to also put values into this activity so that it can carry value from current page to another page. So for that I will say Ivan dot put extra, and you can select any one of this which you want, and I will say this is kind of a variable and a value. So name will be my variable, so I will provide a name like name. You can just put it anything like ID, pass, anything, but I am currently passing name into this, so I am providing name, and that's my string value, and I'll say start activity. So what will this do? This will send my activity or the focus of this application from main to second activity, and it will take my string NA from one page to another. So we are sending this file, so we have to so we are sending this value, so we have to catch this value in another file. So to do so, we'll go in our second activity, and then on create we'll say intent i1 equal to, but here we'll say get intent. So any intent which brings focus to this activity will be stored in this i1, and will retrieve that passed value. So for that I'll say string and name equal to i1 dot get string extra. So I'm getting string, that's why I'll say get string extra, else we can say int extra, boolean extra, or anything which you have passed. So for this we are using string extra, and in this name we'll pass that variable name which we have declared, that is name. So we'll say name over here. So we'll get value of name from first page into the second page, and we'll store it over here. It's not compulsory that we use that same variable name. You can just say name or n or anything, that's up to you. And we'll create a toast over here, and we'll display this. So I have copied the toast from earlier page, so I'll again say second activity, and here I will say n. So let's run this file and see what happens. But first I will just remove this, and will show you that it creates an error if you don't write this activity or you don't define any activity in your file. So first we'll run this as it is. So go to project, I click run as Android application, and if I say etc and I say submit, you can see that unfortunately Qt1 has stopped. This is because we have not defined our activity. So I will define it over here, and then I will rerun this application. So in name let's write ABC, and I'll say submit, and you can see that our second activity has been opened, and it shows our toast that entered name is ABC. So this is how you can just transfer from one page to another, but don't forget that you have to add your page in an activity, and activity has to be defined over here in the Android manifest file. So we'll see how to add a background and how to add images to your application in any and many other stuffs in the next tutorial. Thank you.